Hello, I'm Tim Harris. This is Julie Harris, and this is Real Estate Coaching Radio.
That's right. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any future episodes. Thanks again for popping by. Hit that like button, and don't forget to leave your comments and questions so we can get right back with you.
We will. Thank you for continuing to make our podcast, Real Estate Coaching Radio, the #1 listened to podcast for real estate professionals in at least the United States. And let us know what you think about this video. Leave your comments below. Thank you.
Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic, real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Welcome back. Today is part 2. We are focusing on inflation. We're focusing on the economy, interest rates, and all those other fun topics. But why are we focusing on this? Obviously, we want to give you access to the information that will settle your nerves and help you to stay focused on being of service to other people. But we are also giving you this information so that you can then educate all the people you know, love, and care about so that they too can have a sense of calm through these economic, really uncertain times. And that is really an important drill down point. We have never lived through a time in the economy like this. A lot of people are going to relate this, Julie and I included, to what happened in the 70s into the early 80s. And that really is the nearest, dare I say, comp for what we're experiencing in the economy right now. But there's one huge bugaboo that's going to make this time truly unique. Well, there's several, but the biggest one is the amount of U.S. debt. And I'm not going to get into, feigning a bunch of economic boring points for all of you, but just understand this. Before the ultimate way, when we were experiencing something like this as a country in the early 80s, and Paul Volcker raised the interest rates and mortgage rates went to 19%. Well, let me just say this. Yes, people were still buying and selling real estate, but the biggest difference was the national debt wasn't over $30 trillion. So when the Fed raises interest rates on, basically across the board, it's also raising the interest it has to pay on the debt. And that really is unsustainable much more than where we're at now. Will there be another maybe a quarter to maybe even a whole percentage point rise in the rates? Yes. But after that, it's almost impossible for the Fed to continue to raise rates without really having to cut back on government spending. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think all of you can agree. So what we're doing now is we're going to focus more on specifically what you should be doing to prepare for this next cycle. And again, this is going to be a cycle. This isn't going to be a 3 or 4 months and everything's better. We're looking at probably being in this cycle for the next 2 or 3 years until things start to noticeably turn around. And not so dissimilar from when the housing market started to crack in 2007. And it wasn't until really 2009 that you saw a noticeable improvement and a noticeable turnaround. This cycle actually might last a lot longer. So pay very close attention to these points. And again, it's also worth noting, and if you did not listen to yesterday's show, you can make money no matter what direction the market is going. You can make money helping people in real estate, whether the interest rates are frankly 19% or whether they're 3%. You can make money helping people in real estate no matter what the, essentially the political winds, which direction they're blowing. It doesn't matter. There will always be people that want to buy or sell real estate. And the other thing that's interesting, and we're going to drill down more on this today, is the effects on inflation, not just on home values, but also on your paychecks.
That's right. So get ready to take notes. What are you supposed to be doing about all this? Well, point number 1, know your own financial situation first. Use mint.com and the real estate treasure map, which you can get by texting Premier to 47372. This is what all of our coaching clients use.
And remember, that's one of the first things we want you to do when you become a coaching client, and you can join Premier Coaching for free. Just text the word Premier to 47372. Text the word Premier to 47372 and urgently, immediately download the real estate treasure map and actually complete it. If you're married or you have kids that are old enough, we strongly encourage you to do this together as a family exercise. It really will calm the nerves, especially as we get into, the election cycle that's happening less than 30 days. And a lot of people are going to be very nervous about the economic situation of their own families, and they don't want to talk about it. And that's what a lot of people have a tendency to do, is they get nervous about their own financial situations. And what they do is they avoid talking about it, which just compounds the fear. So absolutely positively use this as a cleansing opportunity for all your finances, and use Mint. Julie was talking about that. Mint's a great way to track all your expenses. It plugs into your every single account you've got, and then use the real estate treasure map to create really a 12-month business and personal life plan, just text the word Premier to 47372 or just go to members.timandjulieharris.com. And remember, when texting, message and data rates may apply. Point number 2.
Yes. So point number 2 is invest in yourself. Upgrade your skills and commit to not just surviving the shifting market, but thriving because of it. New kings and queens are rising, so commit to being one of them. For example, keep your powder dry so you can purchase good rental properties when you see the opportunities. A few of our coaching clients are doing flips already because they've had those new opportunities with higher inventory and the ability to, pull the trigger on that. But you remember, point number 1 is to know your financial situation first and tie your treasure map into mint.com so you can actually track everything you're doing. At that way, number 2, you can invest in yourself. If you don't know what your present situation is, it's really hard for you to know how to invest for your future.
This podcast has had a 20% plus increase in downloads and listens. And why? It's because a lot of you are coming to the realization of what Julie and I have been saying for years, that you really do have to have a high level of skills to stay relevant to, especially in this new market. And that's going to be more true than ever, because really what we're entering into, guys, is going to be a time where the skilled agent, the agent knows how to solve, especially sellers' problems. They're going to control the market. Julie just made a point. New kings and queens will be crowned. What does that mean? Not only do Julie and I watch too much Game of Thrones, that's what it means right
Obviously.
there, but it also means that you're going to see the people that have been dominant in your real estate markets aren't necessarily the ones that are going to be dominant 2 or 3 years from now. If you want proof of that, look to see who the dominant players are now and check to see who the dominant players were in your market back prior to, say, 2010, 2011. Usually completely different people. Why? Because the new kings and queens, the new leaders, they actually adapted to the market and made the most of what that market had to offer. And generally speaking, the people that were dominant in the market prior were the ones that were essentially slow to change or wouldn't change and were waiting around for their old business model and old way of thinking to become relevant again. If nothing else, realize that things are changing faster than they ever have before. If you're feeling exhausted by it, just realize that that's just the nature of life, and it's going to happen even at a quicker pace. Not just in a bad way either. I mean, you can argue what's happening in the economy right now is bad. I don't necessarily think it is. It's a cleansing opportunity. It creates new opportunities for new people. There's a lot of different ways to tune your mindset into realizing that changing markets create more opportunity. But also what's happening right now, and Julie and I are working on notes for this, is there's changes that are happening now with healthcare. They're going to have vaccines for certain types of cancer. They're going to have vaccines for all kinds of different types of diseases. Why am I bringing all this into the conversation? Because if you believe that the faster pace of change that we're experiencing is bad, it's not. It's good. Things are going to happen at a faster pace. You just need to learn to accept that and to adapt quicker. And yes, I'm speaking to all of you that are 45 years and older.
Yes, that's right. So point number 3, invest in your business. These are all action points, what you're supposed to be doing about everything we're talking about. For example, upgrade your tech before the prices are even higher, inflation, or your product simply becomes unavailable, supply chain. So mobile phones, laptops, notebooks, iPads, lockboxes, e-keys. These are all things you should be investing in and upgrading while they're available. And guess what? I see tons of these things on sale, lots of deals going on right now.
Well, it's an interesting little thing. Like we're going into obviously uncertain times, and yet Julie and I are telling you to spend money. But here's the thing to think about. I heard a report yesterday that Pepsi raised their prices by, what was it, Julie? I told you 19% or 20%.
Right. Yeah.
So your average can of Pepsi is going to cost more. I heard Ford actually raised their price by 19% on F-150s. Everybody and everything is raising their prices. The manufacturers, companies that make things, have been hesitant to raise prices for as long as possible, hoping the inflation was just going to be a temporary problem. Now that they realize it's not, the prices on everything are going up by, again, 19%. Now, if you think that number is interesting, that 19% number, listen to yesterday's podcast, because many believe that the actual inflation rate is, guess what, 19%, not the 8.6%. But again, we're getting into semantics, and it's not really that important for the sake of today's show or really real estate coaching and training. But it is important for you to understand that if you feel like there's a big pinch happening for a lot of the consumer items you're used to buying, it's just going to get worse, and it's going to get worse for everybody. So like we talked to you guys about this yesterday, eggs have gone up 30% year over year. That's crazy. So what we're going to see is every single item you can possibly imagine is going to increase in price by at least 20%. And that's going to be the new price. That is just what's happening. It's a permanent resettlement of all pricing of everything. So if, you're thinking about spending money on a new phone or a new laptop or a new car even, do it fast, do it now, don't do it later, because it's going to get more expensive.
That's right. And notice that we're not saying, point number 3 is invest in your business. None of that had the phrase buying leads or branding, anything like that. We're not talking about speculative things. We're talking about necessities.
Well, think about this. If last year we knew eggs were going to go up by 30%, and I know you can't do this, I'm just sort of making a joke, but it wouldn't have been really brilliant for you to buy like $1 million worth of eggs and
No,
stick
you buy chickens. That way you can create the eggs.
Exactly. Yeah, you're being more entrepreneurial than me. But you guys get the idea. I mean, year over year, if you just bought a bunch of eggs, you could have made 30% on those eggs. Well, that's going to be true with virtually everything. So anything that you're going to need on a regular basis, toothpaste, toilet paper, all the things that you can store that won't, go bad as you keep them, you might want to stock up on those things now, because you're actually going to be saving yourself money in the long run. I know that's crazy to think about, but it's true. Now, with regards to your business, I'm going to give you guys, and Julie's going to get into this. Actually, I won't step on your next point because you did a great way of expressing it.
Yeah. So again, invest in your business. For example, systematize your proactive lead generation. Get REDX, not just for their expired and for sale by owner information, but for their dialer system. You can actually upload your database, your past clients, your centers of influence, and efficiently prospect using what REDX has for their dialers. And that way, you're making more contacts in less time. Again, past client center of influence, faster, more efficiently. Just text the word RED to 47372 so we can give you a discount on that system.
Well, so they don't know what dialers are. Basically, what REDX does is REDX goes into your MLS and it pulls up all the expireds, finds all the phone numbers, finds out a lot of other sort of very hard to get information. You sometimes get cell phone numbers too. And then REDX has a system where you basically jump on your computer in the morning or even your cell phone, you hit a virtual button, and the next thing you know, the thing starts dialing for you. Now, you can actually dial the phone yourself and make the calls yourself, but REDX actually has multiple options. You can essentially have a 3-ring dialer. So if there's a list of, say, 20 or 30 new expireds, you can just hit the button and the system starts dialing all these expireds for you. It connects you when there's a live answer and drops the calls, the other ones that are still ringing. That way you can get through the list quicker, have more conversations, and spend less time actually physically dialing it. So it's a very, very good system. You use the REDX system in combination with our scripts. It's pretty much a knockout punch. And again, the thing with the emphasis that we're, again, getting back to what Julie was saying, text the word RED, R-E-D, to 47372, and you get a $150 discount on their system. Now, what was the key point of what Julie and I are talking about? Proactive lead generation. If you're addicted to buying leads, which 99% of you are, the lead buying model is going to become a lot tougher and a lot more expensive. Lead cost is going to go through the roof. We shared with you yesterday, and Julie and I are working for more information about this. It appears that the average Zillow buyer lead in the country now, just as a reference, is now around $500. And that's just for a lead. That's just for a lead, guys. That's not a closing. That's just somebody saying, "Yeah, I might want to buy a house."
It's not a proprietary lead either.
It's not even a pre-qualified lead.
Right.
So that's $500. So you definitely want to be thinking about whether that's something you want to continue to be dependent on. Remember, do not build your mansion on land you do not own, and this is the best time ever for you to be reaching into your, frankly, your talents and your skills. And if you don't feel like you have enough talents and skills, that's what coaching is about. Focus on becoming an expired proactive lead generator. Focus on expired for at least the next 6 to 12 months. It's going to be without a doubt the single greatest opportunity in real estate. Set aside all the fanciful things that maybe you've been, really spending a lot of money and time on. That would be branding, marketing, maybe even a lot of digital, social media type stuff, and focus on the things that are going to put you in a position to help people and make money. A lot of you are focusing on the passive lead generation, the social stuff, because frankly, in this past market that we're now out of, there weren't a lot of expireds to chase. There weren't a lot of for sale by owners to chase. There weren't a lot of, essentially those types of opportunities. But now there are. So you need to be shifting towards the things that are actually going to put you in a position to help people and actually make you money, not just something that's going to spend money that you're hoping one day, maybe hopefully when all the stars align, will generate some kind of lead for you. Get your mind tuned in to where the market is, not where it was.
So for example, again, in the same category, investing in your business and proactive lead generation, always be speaking with your database. The number one thing that grizzled veterans say they regret is that they didn't talk to their database frequently enough And because they didn't, they ended up spending too much money on speculative things that probably didn't work. So here's an interesting stat. At the beginning of the year, first quarter, 40% of Americans stated that they will be moving this year, done in a survey. So who are those 40% in your database who are going to move? Who hasn't moved yet? And will they be hiring you to help them? Speaking to 5 people every day should be as routine as brushing your teeth. Again, the most regretted thing that you can avoid, actually speak to them. Ask them, what are your plans for moving? Some of them are buyers, some of them are sellers, many of them are both, and I bet not 100% of them know what their home is worth after that 19% appreciation year over year.
By the way, we are encouraging all of you to not beat your centers of influence and past clients over the head with tchotchkes. Do not be giving them a lot of free, plastic junk that they're just going to throw out anyway. Call them instead. What people are looking for is meaningful conversations, real life conversations with people that are going to make them feel better. And in this market, and we gave you some scripts yesterday on this, you can call folks, even in this recession or economic shift that we're all experiencing, you can call them and make them feel wonderful when you tell them essentially their house has gone up by how much it's gone up. And Julie and I, again, were researching for future podcasts. Even when we were looking, because like I told you guys, Julie and I have opinions, but then we look for reasons why we might be wrong. So in the category of reasons why we might be wrong, we're starting to discover there's a lot of people that are speculating all the way from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, just all kinds of different sources, what future home appreciation or inflation is going to be. And I could not find, and I don't know if you found it, but I could not find one single report from anybody, even the biggest bears in real estate that we pay attention to, who are predicting that there was going to not be continued inflation or appreciation of homes.
No, the only question is by what percent. People are a little bit all over the board. What I read this morning, the speculation over, the rest of this year and first quarter next year was somewhere between 9 and 13%. And so the new term that you're going to hear is decelerating. Okay, so it's not accelerating as quickly. Think about driving a car, right? When you decelerate, you are still moving forward, but you do not have your foot on the gas quite as hard.
Now, what Julie just said, and we just shared with you guys, would be something every single one of your centers of influence past clients, every single person you know, wants to know what we just said. So despite what the headlines are leading people to believe, home values aren't losing value in the sense that they're less than what people paid for them. They're just not, quote unquote, inflating at the same rate that they have in the past, say, 2 years. And that's just fine. But it's not meaning that houses are losing value. So do not be, frankly, believing all the Mickey Mouse and the clickbait that's out there, leading you to believe that homes are going to somehow be worth what they were 10 years ago. It's not going to happen. This is not 2007, 2008's recession. This is completely different because we have this omnipresent inflation, which is going to force the cost of everything up, including real estate. And I'll tell you what we really think. Even the most I think, conservative estimates for home inflation, because we did find an article that was predicting, with air quotes, what home inflation would be in the different major cities in the country. And the least appreciation I saw, I think it was like 4% was the least I saw. But they're all wrong, because you're not going to have home inflation of only 4% when the inflation and everything else is going to stay in the double digits for some time to come. So realistically, what we're looking at is a long-term cycle of real estate becoming one of the best investments known to man, even more so than it's been historically, in the sense that inflation is going to boost all values. So you're going to be selling fewer homes for the most part. There's going to be fewer home sales, but the home sales, the sales that you're doing are going to pay more because the sale price is so much higher. Now, we can talk about home affordability and all that. We're going to be doing that on a future podcast because, yes, raising the prices does take buyers out of the market who can't otherwise afford the house payment. That's the reason a lot of people are going to become long-term renters, which means, again, sell houses to investors because they're going to be great long-term investments. You just have to shift your mindset. Stop looking for the negative headlines to reinforce the other negative headlines, because where does that leave you mentally and emotionally? If you're reading a bunch of negative stuff and you're believing your tomorrow or even your next year isn't going to be better than your past, you're going to do things to make that true. And I want you guys really to think about that. If you don't believe that the housing market in your real estate business and your potential in real estate to improve yourself financially in every meaningful way, if you don't believe that you're on the upswing, you're actually going to make it so that you become complacent and then you actually start to regress. You will lose whatever traction you gained during the housing boom. This could also happen with your health. This also can happen with your relationships. So please be very careful who you're tuning yourself into. And here's a little mental exercise. And I did this with someone on the phone yesterday. Make a list the 3 to 5 people that you speak with the most. It can be in text or whatever else. And maybe speaking to could be even on forums and Facebook groups and whatever. And then ask yourself how you feel after talking to those people. Do you feel motivated, encouraged, and excited? Or do you just feel kind of a low level, moderate level of depression? Do you feel like you're not optimistic? Do you feel like, again, tomorrow's going to be worse than today? Well, when you find people like that in your life, in which many of us, it's easy to stumble across people like that, you need to purge them from your life. Nicely, without drama, just stop engaging with them at the same level, because you will then gravitate towards people that do see the opportunity that's here because of this market. We've been telling you guys this for the past 5 or 6 years on this podcast. The greatest fortunes have always been made during the greatest times of change. And we're in one of those greatest times of change now. But you have to have your head up, looking for opportunities, not down, waiting for the clouds to clear.
Yeah, so our job is to educate you, motivate you. Your job is to get into action. We've given you many actionable steps, starting with, and if you skip this, the rest makes less sense. The first point we talked about today was for you to get really clear on your current financial situation. And you can do that by using the real estate treasure map. There's a piece of the treasure map called My Financial Picture, which gets very clear on what's going on with your projections.
So let's talk about really what the benefit of doing that is. First of all, when you're going through your business expenses, here's the rule that we ask all of our coaching clients to really, apply to their lives. If, for example, on a personal level, if you have a recurring charge, first of all, look to see what your recurring charges are. If you haven't used that recurring charge in the last 30 days, stop, just cancel it. And if you've got a little kid, I bet you've got a recurring charge for Roblox or Appaloosa, right? And those things are very, subversive about becoming a free app to a $3 a month app that you never cancel. So be very mindful of all that. So go through all your credit cards. But really on the real estate front, that's where you guys are wasting the most amount of money. If you have an expensive CRM that you're not really using the capacities of it, then why not cancel it? You don't really need it. If you're at eXp Realty, they give you a CRM for free. Just use that one. If you're spending a lot of money in marketing and branding, you're spending a lot of money trying to get this to work and get that to work. If it didn't work in the past market, it's not going to work now. So just give yourself a break and stop doing it. Just move away from all the things you're hoping and praying will one day create leads for you. You got to move towards things that are practical and tactical. They're going to put you in a position to help people now and make money. And all of those things revolve around becoming a powerful listing agent. That always has been true and always will be true. So go through all your charges. Look for something where there's not a direct, unquestionable relationship between the money spent and the results that you got. And at that, for all the branding and marketing stuff and even lead buying, if you cannot directly say without a doubt, I got this and it resulted in this paycheck, you need to cancel it, because that's the speculative crap that you need to be purging out of your life.
That's right. And the real estate treasure map forces you to do that, doing what you said, which is looking at what's not working. But the foil to that, just to be sure that you're doing the right thing, is to go through your past transactions and ask yourself where it actually did come from, right? And a lot of you are going to have past clients, repeat, referral. That's true. The question is, are you getting that out of luck or because you have systematized that? And that's where the treasure map leads you to.
Again, also be very careful. Oh, Tim, I got that lead from Instagram. Did you really, or did they just find you on Instagram and you were referred to them by the neighbor who sold their house, and the neighbor told the name, and then they just found you on Instagram?
Or they were your friend from high school. They were your center of influence, if we're being honest.
And they messaged you through Facebook. You guys get it? That's what a lot of you do. You think your leads are coming from social, and they're actually not. People are just using the direct message widget on those social platforms to communicate with you because they don't have your phone number or whatever. And that's fine, whatever. But don't be confused into believing that those social platforms generated the lead. They didn't. That's the reason that we coach all of you to always ask twice why it is that someone decided to call you for the job of listing your home in the sake of, a listing appointment. Ask them that question again in a slightly different way as we teach you how to in the coaching program. And then you'll find the real reason why they actually called you. They might say, well, I just received your postcard. I remember the first time Julie and I had this epiphany when we were selling real estate. And Kelly, who worked for us, she looked like Meg Ryan, this cute little blonde girl. And she basically was not really paying attention to the fact that she'd already asked the question. She asked it again. And Julie and I were in the office and we listened to her using our seller pre-qualification script. And so she asked the question, why are you calling Tim and Julie for the job of selling your home? Or what caused you to, I don't remember the exact question, but that was the gist of it. And then they said, well, I just received a postcard. And I remember watching her write the word postcard down. And then without thinking, she asked the question again. And then she mentioned then they told her the real reason, because someone had referred us to them. Right? So that was the real reason. And then that gave us an opportunity to thank the person that sent the referral. All of you need to get drilled down on all of your lead sources and realize where the business actually came from. Now, some of you are going to be very defensive when I say do not buy buyer leads or stop buying the buyer leads, because you're going to say I have closed transactions from them. And I know that's true, but are you making any profit from those closed transactions? Are they charging between what you're paying your broker and the referral fee and all these other things? What's actually left on the table in terms of net income for you? This goes back to the fallacy that you can build a business based on buying leads, or don't build a mansion on land you don't own. You guys get the whole analogy there? This applies now in this market more than ever. By the way, one of the best turnkey complete real estate systems is eXp Realty. They offer a lot of the things that you guys have now as expenses, your CRMs, your lead generation platforms, your everything. A lot of those expenses could be recast when you're at eXp, because they include them when you're an eXp Realty agent. Julie and I are proudly associated with eXp Realty. If you've not yet chosen your sponsor and you're looking for a sponsor that's going to be very proactive in your success at eXp Realty, we'd be honored for the opportunity to earn the right to be your eXp Realty sponsor. Text me directly at 512-758-0206. If you're looking for a broker upgrade, a broker that's made for this market, a broker that's going to succeed at a higher level because of this market, there really is, to the best of our knowledge, only one option, and that's eXp Realty. So if you're looking for a great sponsor, hopefully you'll agree, Julie, and I could be a great sponsor for you. Text me directly at 512-758-0206. In the meantime, make sure you download the Real Estate Treasure Map, complete the Real Estate Treasure Map, go through the experience, and will be somewhat uncomfortable, and that's fine. Have the experience now of going through all of your budgets, all of your actual expenditures, because after you work past the anxiety, then you're going to discover on the other side of that is a sense of control, and that's what you really need, because then you're going to know exactly how much money you have to earn. One of the things that you are often emotionally distraught about is the unknowing, is the lack of knowledge. The Real Estate Treasure Map is designed to create your own business and, obviously your personal. It's basically like using GPS. That's really at the end of the day what it's all about. It's your North Star. And it all leads back to your magic number, which is the number of listings you need at all times to meet or exceed your financial goals, obligations, your hopes, and your dreams. This is something that works in every market. So if you've not yet completed your Real Estate Treasure Map, if you've not yet become a Premier Coaching member, it is free. Text the word Premier to 47372. Remember, message and data rates may apply. Thank you for keeping this number one listen to daily podcast. Like and subscribe, and please do leave your comments. Have a fantastic day. We'll talk to you on the show tomorrow.
Hello, thank you for having watched this video. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right, and don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments and questions below, and we will get right back with you.
Thank you for watching this video, and remember to watch the next one. You're going to love that one.